Hello, hello, hello. This is Rosa RCG Creations. How are you doing? Hey, hey, hey. I'm having to squat because of the camera. What I'm doing tonight is chicken in dry skillet. Let me turn my heat down a little bit. And I was busy with the camera and forgot to stir this, but that's okay. And the reason I'm doing, I wanted to scorch just a little bit, and that's simply to get the flavor on the pan. Because you know when you're cooking, you've got this little the little speckles right here like this. That's some good stuff. So you don't want to do too much of that though, because you don't want to burn your chicken. Now make sure you, I like to cut mine in bite-sized pieces because, excuse me, but I'm lazy. I don't want to have to cut this on my plate before I eat. So I do all my cutting before. And hubby doesn't care one way or the other if he cuts it on his plate or me, but because I have wrist issues, I just assume cut before I eat my meal. Okay, so now I'm just checking to make sure that all the little bite-sized pieces are going to get cooked on all four sides, because you want this to be cooked as much as possible. And I forgot, did I say we're making chicken and rice skillet, a chicken and rice skillet. I'm tired, got off work, and oh, I forgot my apron. Oh well, this is not a messy job. I usually only like to wear my apron when it's a messy job, or if it's a stinky job. Some jobs are kind of like, ew. The food tastes great, but it's a stinky job. Like pressure canning raw chicken. It's a gross job, but boy, does it taste so good. Okay, so I'm just going to, I turned down my heat. I'll make sure all the little pieces are brown. So I'm just going to continue to stir. See those little pieces right there? I was telling you that when they stick to the pan, you leave it just like that. You want that. You don't have to have it, but I personally like the flavor of it, so does hubby. Okay. Let that simmer for just a minute. And then what you're going to do is once it simmers, oh, let me get myself a container. Because once this is cooked, and you cook it the way you like it, okay? Don't listen to anybody else. You cook it the way you like it. Once this is cooked, we're going to take the chicken out of here, and then we're going to add, I gotta look at my recipe. We're going to add a cream of chicken soup, or if you don't have cream of chicken, use whatever cream soup you have, okay? Because it's all going to taste good regardless of what it is, because it's cream of something. Cream of mushroom, cream of asparagus, whatever it is that you prefer. Now, I want my chicken just a little bit cooked. Because when it comes to poultry, I don't want to take any chances, so I want to make sure that it's cooked. Okay, but we're going to be adding cream of chicken soup, water. Now, I don't season this until the next phase, okay? It's another phase coming down. Because right now, I'm just cooking the chicken, and I want to be able to see it with all the seasonings on it. Make sure that all the pieces are cooked, okay? And we're going to add cream of chicken soup, and then we're going to add water, and we're going to add whatever seasonings that you like. I got some written down, and I will put a description box, and I also do a pop-up of the recipe. But the full recipe will be in the description box. But I will do a pop-up on the video. Okay? And I'm really paying attention to this. I'm really watching this. Make sure I don't overcook any sides of the chicken. But it looks like it's pretty good to me. So I'm going to turn my heat off. Ooh. Sorry, but that was way too heavy. I can't pick that up. Now I'm just going to take your chicken out. You set it to the side. I love this pan because it's nice and big, but boy, it's just way too heavy for me to hold. That's another reason why I like working with metal pans. I can get really close to a hot pan and I don't have to worry about melting a plastic bowl. You see how you got all these little pieces here and the part of it's kind of hard? You keep that in here. You leave it just the way it is and you leave that on your spoon. Now, bear with me 1 second. Let me grab my phone because I got to give you the recipe. I have my phone over here to the side because when I was slicing my chicken, I was watching another video. That's what I do in evenings when I get home, is I spend some time watching a video. Okay, so now let's see. We're going to add, that's in there. We're going to add the cream of chicken soup. Let me grab myself a knife so I can get every part out. Now some, depending on what kind of brand of chicken soup that you buy, cream of whatever it is, it looks different. This one, and I'm going to show you in just a minute. I just want to grab every little piece here. Oop. Now I'm not going to waste the pieces that are on the lid, because that's going to be some good stuff. Now this one, it's called Cream of Chicken, and it's from Deseret, condensed. And that's from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Hubby got laid off when COVID hit. And bear with me, I'm trying to move it around because I'm going to move my screen so I can see where I'm at, so I can tell if I'm in frame or not. But he got laid off for 8 months. And with my check and his check, because he's a primary breadwinner, it takes us both, like most families, it takes both people to pay for everything. Bills still kept coming in, so we were able to go to our church and ask for assistance with food. And thank goodness we were able to do that. So we were covered for food, which was a huge blessing in that aspect alone. And there's where some of these cans, I'm down to, I think I only have 3 cans left from 2 years ago of this cream of chicken soup. Which, no, I would not just, because it's a cream soup. You never just open a cream soup and just eat it out like that. You got to mix it with something, okay? Because all the cream soups are, you could, I guess, if you absolutely wanted to, but I wouldn't. It just doesn't taste that good. So, and that's any cream soup, okay? Campbell's, whatever it is, because I have a bunch of Campbell's here too. I got some other brands. It just depends on whatever store that I'm at, or what brand that I buy, and also what price it is. Because I've already tasted most of them and I already know what it is now. Some, like at Aldi, I love to go to Aldi. But I will not buy any of their cream soups because I don't care for the taste of them. None of them. That's just me. And hubby doesn't like them either, so we just don't buy any of the cream soups there at Aldi. But like at Kroger or Walmart, any of their store-bought cream soups, we're good to go with that. So we're going to add, I've got my 1 can. It's a 10-ounce can of cream of chicken soup. Okay, we're going to add 1.5 cups of water. Where did I put my measuring cup? I just had, sorry. I just had my measuring cup, but I guess I don't. So we're going to add 1.5 cups of water. And if you're little bit off, you're okay. It's going to be good to go. Okay, so I'm adding my water, 1.5 cups of water. Next, I'm going to be adding 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, but I'm not going to do that next. I'm going to turn my heat back on because I want this to come to a boil. So I'm going to put it on like number 9. My thing goes to high, 8, 9, and then high, so it's like number 10. But I want this to come to a rapid boil. Once it comes to a rapid boil, turn it down, okay? Turn down the heat till where it simmers, where it's kind of bubbly, but not really overly bubbly, but just a little bit, okay? Because that's when we're going to add our rice. And then we're going to cover this and let it simmer until the rice is done. Okay, so right now, let me, yeah, you can kind of sort of see that. Let me bring it in so you can see that a little bit better. There you go, see that? Okay, so let me bring you back because it's going to take a few minutes and I'm not going to spend my time or your time watching a pot boil. I'll bring you back. Okay, we're back. That took about maybe 4 minutes. See, it's boiling. So now I'm just going to stir. You want to stir all the cream soup with the water before you add anything else, because you don't want any lumps. Because some of these cream soups, even the Campbell's want to do these also, they get lumpy. So you want to smooth them all out. Kind of basically you want to make sure the water and the soup mix up really well with each other. So I'm just stirring. That's all I'm doing is stirring. And of course, because it's a cream of chicken soup, you got little pieces of chicken in it, which is just fine because it's cooked chicken. We're good to go with that. I'm just wanting to mix up the soup part with the water to make sure it's all nice and creamy. And in fact, I think I've got it. And I'm going to bring you close so you can see that because I want you to see that. Okay, I'm just looking to make sure I'm still in frame. And yes, I am. Alrighty. So let me bring you a little bit closer just so you can see. You see that? See how it's all mixed up? Nice and creamy. It's real creamy looking. And that's exactly what you want. Sorry about the move on the camera here. I'm going back to get on focus. Back in focus, not in focus, back in frame. Okay, so now, see how it's bubbling? Okay, we're going to leave that bubble for just a minute because I need to add 2 cups. You can either use pre-cooked rice or you can use uncooked rice. And for this method, I'm doing the uncooked rice because I've done it both ways, and I personally like the flavor of uncooked rice. So we're going to add 2 cups. I have my 1 container ran out, so I have to go in my long-term storage. I didn't realize I was out of rice. And get me my, so I need to add rice to my grocery list. But it's nice when you already have jars, vacuum packed jars of your dry products like rice, pasta, flour, stuff like that. Because you just never know that right now. I really thought I had enough rice. Because we always have enough rice, but I guess not. So now I'm just going to add my 2 cups. Oops. And if you're off a little bit here, this is one of those things you can kind of fudge a little bit, and you're still fine. So now I'm going to add my rice. Because I was being lazy, I used the same bowl that had water in it. instead of using another container. But that's okay, because I'm good to go with that. Now I'm just going to stir this, and I'm going to bring it down so it's not at a rapid boil. And then if you're doing uncooked rice, it's probably going to take you about 15 to 20 minutes for the rice to get soft. But see how creamy that is? Look at that. That's exactly what you want. I mean, you could, if you want to, water it down, but that takes away from the flavor. So I'm just now mixing it up, and remember I was telling you earlier about the coating of the cooked chicken? Right now is where you want to scrape, and on the sides. And you want to scrape all that because of the liquid that you have here with the soup and the water. Scrape those sides out because you want those in the flavor of your dish. And it's still a little too hot for me. It's still bubbling. I don't want it to bubble. You want it to be boiling, but not bubbling. You want it to, you see ever so often the little bubbles here and there? Because you don't want to burn your sauce, but you need to cook your rice. And that rice is going to take about 15 minutes because this is uncooked rice. Now if you were using cooked rice, this will be done in about 7 to 10 minutes. Because all basically you're doing is heating up the rice. So you can speed up this meal by using pre-cooked chicken, just like this. Cook it, put it in the freezer, and save it for a future time. Same thing with your rice. Cook your rice. Now, I've had frozen rice. It don't taste good. So rice is something that I would do ahead. So I'm making like the night before. Make your rice the night before. Put it in an airtight container. And then leave it in the fridge. And then the next morning, the next day, whenever you get ready to prepare your meal, go ahead and add your rice. So you would just be adding the rice to this, simmer, add your chicken, add whatever seasoning you have, and about 5 to 7 minutes, your meal's ready. We're just going to take longer because this is raw rice, and we need it to get soft. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to be adding my chicken to this. This is when you add the chicken back in. And I'm going to get all those little morsels in there. I'm going to stir that up. And here's where you would want to taste it. That way, if you need to add any seasonings, and I'm going to be adding my paprika in here in just a second. And see how it just kind of bubbles ever so often? That's still a little too hot, so let me turn that down. Because you don't want any bubbling at all. You want it to be simmering, but not boiling. So let me get my paprika. Oh, I should have had my paprika earlier instead of waiting for you to see me over here. And you know what? I don't think I have paprika. I was in that challenge, food challenge, pantry challenge of not going to the store. I wanted to try it out, see what it was like. I've got some salt, but I probably am not going to try and use any salt. I might. Oh, no, that's chili powder. Garlic powder. Enchilada sauce. Oh, here we go. We got ourselves some smoked paprika. I don't have any regular paprika. I think this is the first time I've used this one. Yep. So we're just going to use this. But you can put any seasoning of your choice. And then I also, because I love me some garlic, I'm going to be putting in some of my homemade garlic powder. And you want to do about 1/4 teaspoon, but of course change it to your taste. That's about 1/4. And I'm going to add my This is my homemade garlic powder. I just grind my garlic, dehydrate it, then I grind it. I'm just going to sprinkle it in here. Everything, for me, everything tastes good with a little bit of garlic. I'm going to leave that there because I'm going to taste it to see what I need to add. Now, I'm not going to add any salt because with that chicken and that cream of chicken soup, I'm sure it's got a lot of salt already in it. Plus, if I need salt, I'll just add salt when it's on my plate, just before I get ready to eat. Oops, I forgot to set my timer because it's going to take about 15 minutes for we're going to make some biscuits. I think it's $3.75 for the can of biscuits. They're just the store-bought biscuits. I think they're the Pillsbury Crescent. Oops. Clear. What did I do wrong? Bake. Bake. $3.75. Start. Okay, now it's on preheat. Okay, see how it's thickened up already? If you wanted to, you could add a little bit of water to it, but I'm not going to. I've just mixed it all up. Grab a spoon, take a quick little taste test to see if you need to add anything. Now, of course, the rice is going to be a little hard because then it hasn't had time to cook. I want to get some of just because that rice is hard. Oh, great flavor, great flavor. Thumbs up. I'm not adding any more seasoning to it whatsoever. But I think I am going to add a little bit of water just because I want that rice to really cook. I think it's a little too creamy right now. So I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of water. Let me water that down just a little bit. And then also when you put your lid on here, it's going to collect some moisture from the lid. That'll go right back into the pan again. Let me just mix this up. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let me turn my lid. I'm going to set my timer. Actually, you know what? The timer on the biscuits, when the biscuits are ready, this is going to be ready. But I'll bring you back at the next phase and show you how the next phase comes out, which is be the taste test. Alrighty, we're back to the final finale. Wanted to show you, I did add some rice, but I wanted to show you, I ended up, because I didn't have any frozen vegetables, so I added a can of green beans. These are just Libby's French style green beans, that's kind of what we like. Save your liquid from the green beans, because you can pour the liquid instead of using water in your dish to give it more flavor. So I did end up doing actually a whole jar of this liquid and another can of liquid because it was just way too dry. You're going to have moisture because for one thing you need water, moisture, liquid, so the rice can get soft and cook. But I wanted to show you. See that? See what that looks like? Isn't that nice? And I made the biscuits got done way before the rice did. So I made some biscuits. They're just little store-bought croissant biscuits. Still have my lid on, waiting for hubby to come home. But I went ahead and got myself a plate. I've got my dehydrated caramelized onions. This is the balsam. These are the plain ones. I have some that are balsamic, but I love me my onions, but hubby does not, so I don't cook with the onions because he doesn't like them. But let me do a stir. And then we're going to do a taste test. So I'm going to have me a piece of some of the rice, and green beans, and some of the chicken. Hot, hot, hot. Good flavor, good taste. I personally don't think you need any kind of seasoning. But, you know, you do what's best for you, what you like, or your family likes. I would not add any salt to it because the cream of chicken soup already had salt in it. So the rice is cooked. Of course, the green beans, all we had to do was heat up the can of green beans. Now, if you're using frozen vegetables, you want to put the green beans at the very beginning when you're heating up the whole thing. When the rice is cooking, mix it all together. So when you add your chicken, you also add your frozen vegetables in there. And then you stir it. And of course, the liquid from the frozen, once it melts, will also be absorbed in the rice. But, gonna take another taste. It's really good and flavorful. And I can really, I need some more onions. I love these onions. This is the great thing that I found that I really, really enjoy making. And I'm definitely going to be making some more because you can see I'm almost done with that one. But I do have another jar of the balsamic ones. So, but thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. And don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Take care now. Bye-bye.